Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 393 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin was only at the demon sect spatial crack battlefield for a short moment. However, in this short period of time, he had brought indescribable shock to the thousands of cultivators there. The fierce beasts collapsed, the black skulls extinguished, he had torn the crack open, tamed the 9 abyss dragon, and battled the demon sect's elder. Not only had he not lost and had showed overwhelming strength, he had also caused the elder to unknowingly suffer a hidden injury. All of this terrified the thousands of cultivators outside the spatial crack. The white clothes and white hair were engraved into the hearts of these cultivators. They could never be erased. For the people of the Cloud Sea, the spatial crack was both familiar and unfamiliar. They were familiar with the ongoing war but unfamiliar with where it led and ended. It wasn't that no powerful cultivators had gone into the spatial crack, it was just they knew they wouldn't return, as it was far too large. It was like its own universe, and it couldn't be explored with only a few people. Out of 100 people that enter, less than 3 people would return. The rest would all die or go missing. However, the demon sect had never given up, they continued to send people every once in a while. Using this high mortality rate method, they slowly found a passage over the countless years. Li Qianmai had become a scout to once again explore the spatial crack. Either she lived and came back with new discoveries, or she'd die and become one of the cultivators that disappeared. Wang Lin's divine sense withdrew from the jade in his hand and he looked at the dark world without any light. Even with his cultivation, he could only see about 1,000 feet. Everything else past that was a black blur. The path in the jade is a passage into the depths of the spatial crack the demon sect obtained by sacrificing countless lives. It is also the path Li Qianmai took, but this place is simply too big. Not even the passage inside the jade really enters the depths. Wang Lin stood on top of the 9 abyss dragon. It moved extremely fast with its 10,000-foot body like a bizarre bolt of lightning. The reason it was bizarre was that the 9 abyss dragon was completely silent as it flew. There were no thunderous rumbles or sonic booms caused by its speed. As Wang Lin sat on top of the 9 abyss dragon's head, he silently looked around. He seemed to be able to completely fit into this dark world without any discomfort. After he moved forward for an unknown amount of time, it was no longer silent, and there were bursts of roars coming from the distance. Because the roars were so far away, it sounded like someone was breathing. However, it wasn't one, but many. This strange feeling could make all the Cloud Sea cultivators that had entered for the first time become vigilant. However, none of this affected Wang Lin at all. He calmly sat there and silently looked ahead, recalling the 10 years when he was a stone statue and couldn't feel anything in the outside world. Also, the bloodlight and warmth that were always there while he was inside the heaven-defying bead for 10 years. If there was no bloodlight, Wang Lin's soul would have stayed inside the heaven-defying bead until he dissipated. He remembered that at the beginning, he was very cold and was slowly dissipating. It wasn't until the bloodlight came that he became warm and his body slowly started reforming. He had regained his senses and awakened his memories. It was because of the bloodlight that he could find the Lord of the Sealed Realm and enter the Dao realm to comprehend his first Dao spell. Dream Dao. This is the spell that I comprehended in the Dao realm. It is my 3rd spell after Sundered Night and Flowing Time. It is a Dao spell. Wang Lin let out a sigh. The more he recalled the old woman's words, the more he thought about the bloodlight inside the heaven-defying bead. He felt like he owed Li Qianmai even more and was unable to repay her. Time slowly passed as Wang Lin recalled his memories. The world inside the spatial crack seemed to never change. Everything was always dark. The only difference was that when Wang Lin occasionally looked up, the beast shadows that appeared 1,000 feet away became more and more numerous. If this world lit up, the sight that would be unveiled would shock any cultivator. Wang Lin raised his head and origin energy gathered in his right hand. A golden light gathered in his palm and then shot upward like a meteor. It broke the silence and suddenly exploded into a bright light that lit everything up. The moment the light appeared, heaven-shaking roars came from the surrounding fierce beasts. With the light, Wang Lin could clearly see that many different kinds of fierce beasts had surrounded him and the 9 Abyss Dragon. There were no less than 10,000 of them. They seemed to be extremely sensitive to the light. The moment the light shined in the darkness, they all roared violently and quickly retreated. The blinding light was soon devoured by the darkness, causing the world to become dark once more. The 9 Abyss Dragon was one of the king beasts in the spatial crack, and it gave off an aura that belonged to a king beast. This was preventing the surrounding beasts from approaching. This was why Wang Lin was able to get so far. All the fierce beasts should retreat when encountering the 9 Abyss Dragon, but due to Wang Lin's existence, they had become conflicted. This was why so many of them had gathered but didn't dare to get too close. The light allowed Wang Lin to see the surrounding fierce beasts. Although there was a lot, most of them were rank 10. There weren't many above rank 10. The light dissipated. Wang Lin was still sitting calmly on the head of the 9 Abyss Dragon when his divine sense spread out. The 9 Abyss Dragon seemed to be stimulated by the divine sense and let out a roar. The roar was heaven-shaking, and it violently echoed inside this dark world. The 9 Abyss Dragon suddenly sped up and charged ahead. The fierce beasts all retreated, opening a path. The 9 Abyss Dragon broke through the beast herd and pierced into the depths of the dark world. It was difficult to keep track of time inside the spatial crack. There was no day, only endless darkness. As the 9 Abyss Dragon went deeper, Wang Lin's expression gradually became serious. Although he still could only see 1,000 feet ahead, he found that something was different. As he went deeper, the color of this world changed. It was no longer black, but purple. The 9 Abyss Dragon began to move slower and slower. There was a faint tremble from its soul, as if the purple world terrified it. If it wasn't Wang Lin's divine sense surrounding it, the 9 Abyss Dragon would have been trembling violently and would not dare to move further. It would immediately leave and fly away. The beasts that had been following them all trembled and didn't dare to follow deeper. However, the amount of fierce beasts surrounding them didn't decrease, but increased. These were all beasts that lived in this purple world. Wang Lin naturally noticed the 9 Abyss Dragon's abnormal state. His eyes lit up. Although the amount of time that had passed was not obvious, based on their speed, Wang Lin calculated how far they had traveled. Based on his analysis, he was at the edge of the purple realm that was recorded in the jade. This was very close to the end of the passage marked in the jade. Sitting on the head of the 9 Abyss Dragon, Wang Lin closed his eyes and felt his surroundings. He gradually felt faint traces of spells nearby. It was as if someone had just used a spell not long ago. Wang Lin had come all the way here and was still a bit farther away from the end of the passage. However, he didn't know if he had followed the right path, nor had he found any clue about Li Qianmai. After entering the spatial crack, he faintly felt several powerful auras. They seemed to be aware of Wang Lin but strangely didn't stop him. At this moment, this was the first time he had found a clue about Li Qianmai. Although the traces of spells were faint, they were real. They weren't left by a beast, but a cultivator. Li Qianmai. Is it you? Wang Lin opened his eyes, and they lit up. His hands formed a seal and he pressed it hard between his eyebrows. A powerful force rushed into his forehead, and his origin soul trembled violently. As his origin soul trembled, the traces of spells changed in a strange way. In Wang Lin's eyes, the world began to change. The darkness disappeared and was replaced by vertical lines. Flowing time. Reverse, Wang Lin's eyes glowed like a torch and suddenly penetrated the darkness. The lines began to move as if they were forming something. The void before him was filled with the power of time, and under this strange power, time began to reverse. The void gradually began to twist, and the figure of a woman in white appeared. Her face was extremely pale and there were shocking blood stains on her clothes. She held a long sword in one hand, and a golden pen surrounded her as she rushed through the void. Her face was without blood and she was very thin, almost a bag of bones. As she moved forward, a large, whip-like shadow was charging straight for the woman in white. The moment the shadow closed in, the woman waved the long sword in her hand to counter the shadow. There was a thunderous rumble and her face became even more pale and she coughed out blood. She charged into the depths of the void, and the shadow chased closely after. The twisted void trembled and collapsed. The spell traces collapsed as well. At this moment, Wang Lin's eyes revealed excitement and madness. Li Qianmai. Although the woman in white had changed and was extremely thin, Wang Lin immediately recognized her as Li Qianmai. Her weakened state and pale face pierced into Wang Lin's heart like a needle. The intense pain caused his divine sense to erupt and form a violent storm that penetrated the Nine Abyss Dragon. The Nine Abyss Dragon let out 2 blasts of hot air from its nose and charged forward as it trembled. This time, the Nine Abyss Dragon moved even faster as it pierced the void and into the depths of the spatial crack. However, the Nine Abyss Dragon was trembling even more violently. Its soul was on the verge of collapse. It was as if this was a forbidden place, a place it didn't dare to enter. Shortly after, the Nine Abyss Dragon let out a mournful roar and stopped despite Wang Lin's stimulation. It roared in fear as it trembled. A cold feeling flowed through the purple world like air flowing. It was this cold energy that caused the Nine Abyss Dragon to stop due to fear and disregard Wang Lin's order. Not only did it not move forward, it wanted to retreat. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he was about to step off. However, his face changed and he waved his right hand. A jade appeared in his hand. It was Li Qianmei's soul jade. There was an ear-piercing cracking sound, and the crack became even wider. Li Qianmei's life soul had become even weaker, it was almost extinguished. Wang Lin's heart twisted for a moment, as if something had punched his chest. A crazy aura filled his body. He ignored the Nine Abyss Dragon as he jumped off and charged into the depths of the spatial crack. However, without the Nine Abyss Dragon's King Beast aura, the moment he charged out, beast roars began to echo. The beasts that lived in this purple world suddenly charged at Wang Lin. A fierce beast with the body of a tortoise and let out a powerful roar as it charged at Wang Lin from 1,000 feet away. Wang Lin didn't slow down at all and charged forward. The 1,000 feet distance closed in an instant. Wang Lin formed a fist with his right hand and threw a punch. The thunderous rumble seemed to begin the slaughter and echoed across this dark world. The tortoise beast trembled and its eyes were in a daze. Its body immediately exploded into a mist of blood. Wang Lin rushed out from the blood mist and charged ahead. However, the moment he charged out, beast roars echoed and more than 10 different kinds of beasts closed in. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world. Wang Lin was like a slaughter god, and nothing seemed to be able to stop him. He waved his hand and a lion-like beast to his left suddenly collapsed into a pile of flesh and blood. A 10,000-foot python closed in and was stepped on by Wang Lin's right foot. It let out a miserable scream and immediately died. A giant, human-faced spider with a 10,000-foot body like a small mountain approached. It opened its mouth to devour Wang Lin, but Wang Lin pressed down with his right hand and the spider died. The screams of the beasts before their deaths increased. Wang Lin was like a storm that was causing a rain of blood as he tore through the void. Red light appeared in Wang Lin's eyes, and he moved even faster as he roared, "Scram, scram, 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 scram." His right hand formed a seal and 10 million swords surrounded him. The surrounding fierce beasts all screamed and retreated, but as they retreated, their bodies collapsed and they died miserably. However, their deaths released a bloody scent that attracted even more beasts. There were hundreds of thousands of beasts rushing toward Wang Lin, and there was no end in sight. Wang Lin was filled with killing intent and coldness flashed through his eyes. As the hundreds of thousands of beasts charged at him, a blue flame rushed out of his body. The blue flame spread everywhere, and any beast that touched it screamed as they were burned to ashes. This blue flame was too fast and appeared too suddenly. It rapidly spread and created a sea of flames 10,000 feet wide around Wang Lin. Now there were no more fierce beasts around him. His right foot took a step forward and he started moving forward at a heaven-shaking speed. However, after a moment of silence, even more fierce beasts roared and surrounded Wang Lin from all directions. The coldness in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger, and he waved his right hand. Thunder roared in his dark world and countless silver snakes gathered toward Wang Lin. They formed countless balls of thunder and charged at those fierce beasts. Thunderous rumbles echoed once more and shook the world while Wang Lin rushed out. A fierce aura erupted from his body, and the rumbles echoed as he flew. The beasts collapsed one by one. Some blocked Wang Lin's path and were destroyed by the swords. Wang Lin directly slammed into some of them and smashed their bodies into pieces. The smell of blood became even stronger. As Wang Lin moved forward, not a single beast was even able to make him pause. Endless beasts appeared before Wang Lin. He let out a cold snort and waved his right hand. A giant palm print appeared before Wang Lin and large amounts of origin energy gathered, causing the palm print to immediately turn corporeal. As Wang Lin waved his right hand, the palm print moved forward. All the fierce beasts that collided with the palm print died miserably. The smell of blood became even stronger. However, Wang Lin started moving even faster. With the war spirit print, all the fierce beasts died. Wang Lin pierced through the darkness and arrived at the end of the passage marked in the jade. After he arrived here, there was no more direction to follow. The cold aura was even stronger here. It penetrated his body and even his origin soul seemed to slow down. When the war spirit print was assaulted by the cold air, crackling sounds echoed and ice appeared on it. In an instant, the huge palm print turned into an ice sculpture. At this moment, a white gas appeared in this cold world. It turned into fierce beasts that gave off an icy aura. These fierce beasts all looked different, but their ferocious gazes were far more intense than that of the beasts Wang Lin had killed. The moment they appeared, they charged at Wang Lin. At a glance, the amount of beasts formed by this white gas was endless. Killing intent flashed through Wang Lin's eyes, and he didn't hesitate to tear the space before him. His storage space immediately appeared. Mosquito beasts, appear? The moment Wang Lin spoke, a heaven-shaking buzzing overshadowed the roars of the beasts. Mosquito beasts rushed out one by one. 1, 2, 10, 100, 1,000, over 10,000. At this instant, more than 10,000 mosquito beasts suddenly appeared and surrounded Wang Lin. They pounced on those ferocious beasts. Wang Lin let out a laugh. This slaughter was heaven-shaking, and an extremely powerful aura erupted from his body. He then took a step forward. Li Qianmai bit her lower lip. Her face was extremely pale. There was blood on her skirt, and all her magic treasures had been exhausted. Even the sword had collapsed in exchange for her to escape once. However, right now despair filled her heart. In this strange world, she felt lonely and helpless. There were too many fierce beasts here. No matter how much she killed, she couldn't kill them all. She looked around and bit her lower lip before revealing a miserable expression. There were countless beasts around her, and they were all roaring at her. It felt like their ferocious gazes were going to tear her body apart. Li Qianmai had exhausted her origin energy and her pills were all used up. However, determination filled her heart, allowing her to last until now. The golden pen in her hand drew runes one by one, resisting the beasts around her. However, as she weakened, the pen could no longer do much damage to the beasts surrounding her. If it wasn't for the blue light forming a protective barrier 100 feet around her, she would have already died. However, right now the blue light was trembling as if it could collapse at any time. The surrounding fierce beasts were slamming into the blue light even more violently. There was also a whip-like shadow that would break the void and mercilessly slam into the blue light. The blue light would tremble violently and disappear for a moment when it did so. Every time this happened, a few fierce beasts would break through the blue light. Li Qianmai would have to pay a great price to kill them. She couldn't last any longer. The loss of vitality and origin energy had made her a lamp without any oil. Am I going to die? I wonder if he has awakened. I didn't get a chance to see him again. I don't regret it. 2 streams of tears flowed down her eyes as she looked dimly ahead. After a long time, she slowly closed her eyes, waiting for the blue light to dissipate and death to arrive. Li Qianmai muttered, I don't regret it. However, just as she closed her eyes, a laugh that could shake the heavens and contained an unstoppable aura came from the distance. This shook Li Qianmai's mind, and she suddenly opened her eyes. She stared at the source of the sound in disbelief, and her tears flowed once more. However, the world inside the spatial crack was purple, and from afar, the purple was intense. An invisible, cold undercurrent moved and stirred the world. This caused this world to be filled with unfathomable changes. Just as Li Qianmai started shedding tears and opened her eyes to look at the source of the laughter, the giant whip suddenly closed in. It mercilessly lashed at the blue light. The blue light trembled and collapsed for a moment. Several fierce beasts charged at Li Qianmai with a roar. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he looked into the distance. He couldn't see exactly what was going on, but he could see that there were spell fluctuations there. Within the spell fluctuations, there was an aura he was familiar with. It was Li Qianmei's aura. Wang Lin's mind trembled and he didn't hesitate to charge at the source of the spell fluctuations. The boundless fierce beasts continued to rush at Wang Lin. His eyes were red as his hand formed a seal and waved. Origin energy suddenly condensed and thunderous rumbles echoed across the world. The fierce beasts collapsed one by one into mists of blood, then he moved even faster. The 10,000 mosquito beasts also surrounded him, turning Wang Lin into a slaughter vortex. Not a single fierce beast was left alive where he passed by. Die, 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 die. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he charged out. The surrounding fierce beasts continued to die, and their cries became even more miserable. Continuing this slaughter, Wang Lin's speed increased. He slaughtered a bloody path through these countless beasts. Blood was everywhere, and the smell of blood filled the world. Even the purple seemed more dark red now. At this speed, Wang Lin closed in on the location where the spell fluctuations originated. He could clearly feel the weak aura coming from the spell fluctuations. It seemed like Li Qianmai was facing a great danger. Wang Lin let out a roar and his right hand formed a seal. Origin energy gathered in his palm and shined brightly. He shot it into the air and then it collapsed into a bright cloud. This caused this dark world to immediately light up. The moment the world lit up, Wang Lin saw a scene he could never forget in this life. This scene made his mind tremble, and he let out a heaven-shaking roar that could collapse the world. His body trembled and an extreme madness erupted. He saw a woman in white with a pale face smile gently at him while being surrounded by countless fierce beasts tens of thousands of feet away. However, this smile seemed to last for eternity. There was a faint, blue light around her, but a giant whip-like shadow lashed at the blue light. The blue light suddenly collapsed. The whip broke through the blue light and charged at Li Qianmai. Once that whip landed, Li Qianmai would die. Time seemed to slow down. Wang Lin raised his right hand and roared. He revealed a ferocious and crazed expression as he pointed at the giant whip. He shouted, "Stop!" An indescribable law filled the world and turned into countless threads that wrapped around the giant whip. The whip slowed down but didn't stop. The moment it slowed down, Wang Lin's mind went blank, and the only thought in his mind was to save Li Qianmai. He lifted his right foot and ripples echoed under his feet. He disappeared and merged with the void. Spatial bending. That giant whip contained a mysterious force, and not even law could stop it. Popping sounds echoed as the stop spell around it collapsed. The whip got closer and closer toward Li Qianmai. Li Qianmai wasn't able to dodge or resist. At this moment, her vitality was almost gone. She was a dried-up oil lamp. Even if the whip didn't hit her, she wouldn't live for long. Her injuries had already caused her origin soul to collapse. The only reason she was still alive was an inexplicable sense of will. After she saw Wang Lin, she revealed a smile. She was satisfied and could now die. She just wanted to see Wang Lin, to see that he was fine. Him awakening was enough for her. She was very tired and very cold. It seemed these 10 years had consumed her everything, and at this moment all of that erupted, and it was going to drown her. The whip was already close. As a thunderous rumble echoed, the golden pen in Li Qianmei's hand suddenly collapsed. The whip lashed at Li Qianmei's body. However, when the whip was 7 inches from Li Qianmei's body, a crazy roar echoed. A powerful hand appeared from the void next to Li Qianmei and grabbed the whip. Wang Lin's figure stepped out from the void. The veins on his body were all swollen and his eyes were red. He stood before Li Qianmai like a mountain that blocked the wind and rain, life and death. Li Qianmai looked at Wang Lin. Her smile became even more gentle. However, her eyes became even more dim, and the light gradually dissipated. The moment Wang Lin's hand grabbed the whip, a powerful force entered his body, as if a 10-million-ton carriage had crashed into him. Even Wang Lin's body trembled, and he coughed out blood, but he didn't take a step back because behind him was someone he had to save. A woman named Li Qianmai. In his entire life, Wang Lin had only done this for Wan. But there was now another woman to whom he owed too much. If he didn't do this, he couldn't call himself a man. His face revealed a ferocious expression. The moment the powerful force entered, popping sounds echoed inside his body. He let out a roar and his right hand mercilessly pulled the whip. The ancient god stars appeared and began to rotate like crazy. His ancient god power filled his body and gathered in his right hand. An ancient god phantom appeared around him, and Wang Lin let out a shocking roar. "Break for me!" As Wang Lin roared, a thunderous rumble came from the whip, then it instantly collapsed. However, the moment it collapsed, a powerful aura swept toward Wang Lin. He still didn't retreat and stood before Li Qianmai. He coughed out blood, but his eyes revealed a monstrous cold gaze. "I don't care who you are, I won't allow you to take this woman's life." The smile on Li Qianmei's face became even more gentle. She looked at Wang Lin and softly said, "Thank you." After that, her eyelashes trembled and she gradually closed her eyes as if she was sleeping. Wang Lin trembled and suddenly turned around. His right hand formed a seal and then pointed at Li Qianmai. Origin energy rushed into Li Qianmei's body and sealed all of her dissipating vitality. However, none of this could stop the death aura and her vitality from dissipating. Her origin soul was too weak, her soul had begun to dissipate, and her body had lost all of its luster. Only her smile became an eternal existence in Wang Lin's memory. "Don't die? You can't die?" Wang Lin revealed sadness. Once again, he felt his own helplessness. More than 1,000 years ago, he watched a woman grow old in his arms and slowly die. The only thing that remained was a body and her sleeping soul. After more than 1,000 years, he saw a second woman rapidly wilting like a flower before him. "If one day I'm no longer here, will you remember that in your life, there was a woman named Li Qianmai that quickly passed by? If I never come back, I hope you remember." Sadness appeared inside Wang Lin's eyes. At this moment, he thought of Li Muwen, the lover who was unable to wake up inside the heaven-avoiding coffin. However, the world was cruel and made him feel the sorrow he felt back then. "I won't let you die." Wang Lin spoke words he couldn't even understand himself. He raised his right hand and pointed at Li Qianmai. Flowing time. Flowing time suddenly appeared, and the giant, stone door appeared, towering over the world. An ancient aura spread out and the power of time enveloped Li Qianmai. At this instant, her rapidly extinguishing vitality unexpectedly slowed down. However, the flowing time spell couldn't be stopped. Once it was stopped, Li Qianmei's vitality would rapidly dissipate in a short period of time. From then on, there might be someone else named Li Qianmai, but none of them would be her. The flowing time spell from his right hand continued to drain his origin energy as he held Li Qianmai in his arms. He looked at the dark world around him and revealed monstrous killing intent. At this moment, a thunderous roar came from the void. Two giant, whip-like shadows suddenly appeared and mercilessly lashed at Wang Lin. In the distance, the endless fierce beasts emitted bloodthirsty roars and charged at Wang Lin. Even further away, there were several huge beasts who looked at Wang Lin with ferocious gazes. There was an endless horde of fierce beasts surrounding him. "Qianmai, I'll take you out of here." Wang Lin closed his eyes and placed his right hand between his eyebrows. A complicated restriction flashed between his eyebrows. His left hand reached toward his eyebrows and mercilessly tore down. He opened the seal he had placed on his cultivation after he left the seven-colored realm. At this moment, Wang Lin became the strongest he had ever been in his 2000 years of cultivation. This video will end here.